the momentum keeps going more and more that way, but the logistics have always suggested that you're never going to be able to base a team outside of the States full time. And Goodell says, oh, it's going to happen, and he has no doubt about it.
So that could mean a lot of things. Mexico City, Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver, or London, Portugal, Barcelona.
But isn't that, like, even if it's Mexico City, I think that still qualifies as a massive deal.
Well, it does, but that's Western Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere. Like, that's the same continent. That's not that big of a deal. They already played some games there. That's, it's a little bit south and east of Arizona, where you're already going to play probably.
You're saying it feels more like realignment into another NFL city.
Yeah, that's not that huge a deal.
The ruination of the sport based on the logistics of travel.
Indeed. So, like, if you're going to Dublin, Ireland, that's a dramatic difference than if you're going to Toronto internationally. And I think that's what they're talking about. It's overseas. It's, the difference potentially of 6, 7, 8, 9 hours if you're on the West Coast for some of these places across the Atlantic. And to me, I would say it has to be in the Northern Hemisphere. So you think of the equator line where they're already going to go into Argentina. I think they're going to play, I can't remember if they played a game and they played a game in Brazil. So that's below the hemisphere. I think that's too huge of a deal. It's a different season. Everything about it's different. It's totally topsy-turvy. And then kind of past that prime meridian line that goes through, England, sort of Western Europe.
Geography class.
But that's kind of my point here is if you go beyond those things, it's now like, all right, you're going to fly Monday, but it's really Tuesday there. And when you land, it's going to be yesterday and your body clocks and everything else. And this is just a regular week of the season. Just seems too much to do beyond a special occasion.
I'll get back to the topic at hand in a second. But speaking of the international travel and how insane it is, have you seen the difference between the Rams and the 49ers for how they're going to handle the Australia game? I think this is crazy. So one of the teams, I believe it is the 49ers, are going out there way early. So they're going to be out there for a week, basically.
Trying to acclimate.
Exactly. They're going to go out. They're going to practice there. They're going to live there. They're going to just chill. And they're going to try to see some koala bears and get bitten by spiders and do all that stuff.
There's so many of those.
The Rams are acting like they're playing the game in D.C. They're flying out the night before, you can't fly in a night.
So it's like 3 nights before almost, yeah.
Exactly. But it's like, what is that, Tobes? You live there. It was like 17-hour flight or whatever. It's asinine. But they're going to land, basically, get off the plane, go to bed, wake up, play the game, and then fly back. Like, they're acting like it's a cross-country flight. And so whatever happens in the game, people are going to have the takeaway of that team did it right. The 49ers acclimated, or they were there too long. The Rams, by not taking it overly seriously and just business as usual and sleeping on the plane, because they get the ginormous plane and everyone has the room to lay out, and everyone will be in a bed that basically rolls backwards. I'm sure they'll spare no expense. Kroenke's going to take care of the guys, but they're going to just get off the plane, play football, come back. And so whoever wins will say that that's the way to do it. But I do find it completely fascinating to see those two teams juxtaposed and how they're handling it.
Well, there's no settled science on it, right? I mean, I remember there's been a million debates as to what you do when you go play Denver. Do you fly in at the last possible second you can and expose yourself the least amount to the altitude and less oxygen, or do you go there as early as you possibly can to acclimate to it?
Teams still debate that all the time.
And nobody knows the answer, right? There's no one way to do it.
I do feel like, personally, the more you can adjust, the better. Not just from a time zone standpoint, but getting over there. If you can set up camp and just be there, the same way when Washington, remember, played, went out to the West Coast to play the Cardinals and some other team back-to-back. They just stayed out there. Mm-hmm. I think the idea of just being there, posting up, no distractions, being in a hotel, having practice every day, you're there for 5 days, so your body clock's adjusted. I'm Team 49ers way of doing it, but I guess we'll find out.
Seriously. Yeah, I mean, if one team looks a little sluggish, a little slow, or looks good, is it because of the flight, or is it because the 49ers have practice near power lines? We won't know. We won't know.
I had a couple of people come up to me today, and shout out if you're listening. They're big listeners, it sounds like. But they were like, have you thought about all the data centers around Ashburn? And I was like, no. They're like, do you think all the data centers are why the Commanders get hurt so much? And I was like, so we have the 49ers have their substation, and now the data centers are why the Commanders are getting hurt. I have not heard that one. That's new.
But it can't just be like there's a data center in your county. Like when you look at that 49ers practice footage, they're like, nice pass by by whoever, by Brock Purdy, and in the background, as the ball's flying in the air, it's nothing but this giant substation takes up the entire background of the picture.
And it's just crackling electricity.
Yeah,
and stuff.
you can hear the buzz of it. Mm-hmm.
There's a golf course I play at the one time every year that I play golf.
The golf course.
Meadows Farms, it's called, in Orange, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
It's where I do the Jermon Bushrod charity golf tournament. But there's like power lines over top of all the holes and stuff. And it's just kind of funny because when you're out there, the entire time you can just hear the zzz.
Just power.
That's all it is power. Yeah. But maybe I'm like George Kittle when I'm out there. I'm just like, my knee starts hurting or something. I don't know. But anyway, back to this idea of playing these international games, not just 8 to 10 at a time, but a team actually being based outside of the United States. Here's what I think this is. I think this is posturing from the league in a way to get what they need from the cities that either already have teams or that want teams in a world where they're going to expand or Major League Baseball style, like replace a city with another one or what have you. That's to me what this is the league's bluffing because they want stadium deals and they want the cities that have the stadium deals to feel some pressure. We will take your team and we will move it to London. We will get the best stadium ever built in another country where we don't have to worry about the financials at all. I think that's really what this is.
At the core of it, it's that.
By the way, there's only like one more team right now that's going to be sold anytime in the near future, which is, I think, the Baltimore Ravens potentially in the next bunch of years, I guess, could be like the last team of the like young ownerships that have taken over. Like if you're looking at it, but beyond that, like who's moving? None of these teams are moving. There's no teams coming or going. There's a club of 32 people that get to own these things, and unless somebody sells, I don't know, like how do you get in on the game? They're not adding a new team, so I think this is just their way of saying, hey, when we tell you need a new stadium, you better get a new stadium because Europe is waiting. That's what I think this is.
I think there's something to that, but I think the other part of it is they love to have international stuff. I mean, they're already showing you by how many games they're just going to keep adding. They want those markets. They see the fervor. They see the incredible passion of these fan bases where if you go to a Manchester City game and you're wearing red, the cops are like, yeah, we can't protect you. Good luck. Like you might get your brains beat in. They want access to that. They want these spending avid, if you even just get a taste of it, you're on easy street. It's found money as far as they're concerned. So I think it's two parts. One, leverage the part I hadn't really thought about that, but it makes good sense. But the other part is there are only so many more football fans that you can find here in the United States.
Well, and one other item related to that, if you're talking about holding the events outside of the United States, so there's been a lot of talk about a Super Bowl internationally. Mm-hmm. And Goodell went on record as basically saying, we're not going to have a Super Bowl outside of the United States unless there's a team that plays in that city. Like the Super Bowls we like to give to our team cities. Because that would be pretty crappy. If you're like, hey, I know there's a huge line of everyone here that has the teams that want the Super Bowl.
But we're doing it at Wembley Stadium.
We're going to London.
Yeah.
So his point is, I'm not saying no to a Super Bowl internationally, but it's not going to happen until there is a team. The guy that runs, his name's Peter O'Reilly, the NFL's executive VP of business, international events, said something to the effect of it's not a front burner issue, which is being taken to mean we'll talk about this when there's a team over there, and then they'll get their Super Bowl. Not unlike Washington getting their new stadium, and now the Super Bowl follows if you build it. Super Bowl comes kind of thing. But I think that you're onto something with, like, they want to do more events, but you're capped at what kind of and how many of the big events you could do if you don't have a team there, because all the other teams are going to be putting their hand out going, what about us?
Right. What about our turn?
We want the draft. Why would you put it in Europe when we haven't had our draft in our city, which is a institution, pillar city for the NFL?
So I think there's going to be a team in London before I'm toes up in the ground. I think that's what's coming.
I do not. Give me, like, would you say within the next 20 years?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it went from look at this crazy weird novelty. We're going to play one game in Mexico City for San Francisco to, oh yeah, you guys go to Australia, you guys are in Germany, you guys will, be in Bulgaria in like an hour and a half. We're just going everywhere, man. It's a traveling road show. Yeah, you guys go to Buenos Aires and you can't get it on Peacock, Danny. We're going to do all that stuff. I think that's what they want.
I don't think there will be a team in London ever. If you told me there'd be a team in like Mexico City you referenced earlier, that's way more likely, but I'd still say no. I would bet against, let's not say in our lifetime, let's say in 20 years. You're saying there will be an international team.
Yes.
I think the logistics make it really hard.
Oh, I'm sure of that. Because I think it's to me, if I'm on any kind of committee, they appoint me to something, I'll go, no, that's a non-starter. It's stupid. Imagine being a team from San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, used to be San Diego, but anybody out west, even Denver in the middle of the West, even like anybody in the middle of the country, those flights are outrageous. You can't do that.